Hello. These slightly longer form videos don't actually do as well as my shorts do, but I'm going to continue to make them nonetheless. I'm going to be posting this one over on my YouTube channel as well as here. So I am going to be talking a bit about autism and specifically about autistic meltdown. Those moments when it's all become too much and it's all got on top of you and you've lost it. And that can be you've lost it and you've hurt yourself. A lot of people with autism will hit themselves, will bite themselves. You could have lost it and hurt somebody else. You could have become overwhelmed and broken things, smashed stuff up. Basically, you're going to be going into a massive surge of adrenaline. That adrenaline just is completely from the place of fear, that amygdala response, that lizard brain response, and you're going into fight, flight, freeze. So you're going to attack something, shut down, do whatever it is that gets you out of that situation in that moment. Now, those of us who have autism but are also very highly masked and use our logic and reasoning to overcome our autism, or I say overcome it, to mask it from neurotypicals and to survive in very overwhelming situations, we're more likely to box that down and deal with it later. We're more likely to mask that in the moment and then deal with it when we get home. And that is, in and of itself, a coping strategy. And although a lot of therapy will go out there and say, well, that's not a very healthy coping strategy for an autistic adult and for a high masking autistic adult, that's actually probably the best coping strategy there is, which is to learn how to compartmentalize this situation, put it aside, go somewhere you can deal with it and deal with it. That's your ideal. Now, that isn't going to always work because sometimes the overwhelm and then that trigger happens in the moment and there's nothing you can do about it. You've been triggered and now the explosion's going to happen and there's nothing you can do. You're out of you're like, it's like an out of body experience. I've had a few myself and I can only describe it as like an out of body experience. There's a part of me, there's like a logical part of me going, calm down, this wasn't even that big, it's not even that important. Why are you reacting like this? Why are you behaving like this? But that doesn't affect the fact that my body wants to just fight or freeze or has done whatever it is that my body is doing. And it's awful and it's terrifying. And I think something that isn't always understood, particularly when we're working with non-verbal autistics and young people with autism who haven't got emotional regulation strategies in place and who don't have a lot of emotional regulation in the first place, is that understanding that whether or not the trigger was something that made them afraid, the adrenaline surge of the overwhelm, of the dysregulation, of that red zone, whatever you want to call it, the meltdown, the adrenaline of that is terror, is fear. They will get through it however they get through it, often with fighting because, of course, their higher reasoning powers are often out of touch, are unable to take control. And then they're going to do things that later on they regret. And they do regret. And they do feel that sense of regret afterwards. And then you're beating yourself up again. Because in that moment, you had rage. You snapped your iPad in half and you tore the television down off the wall and you bit yourself. And you bit your mum and you've everything has been awful. And then afterwards, you're suddenly faced with the realities of all of those things. Yes, you know now there are consequences to those actions, but in that moment, in that amygdala space, you can't act on those understanding of consequences. That part of your brain didn't care about consequences, just cared about this situation right now, getting out of this situation right now. So it's really, really difficult. So I get asked quite a lot as somebody who works with people with autism, with young people with autism. I get asked quite a lot of how can I stop my child having a meltdown, or how can I prevent my child from having a meltdown? You know, can I remove the triggers? Now, there's a big difference between the causes, the build-up of something, the cause of overwhelm, and the trigger for the overwhelm. So the cause is likely to have built up throughout the day, even throughout the week. I mean, if you look at Christmas itself, that's a massive cause spike, isn't it? You've got so many things that have changed. I put little hats on stuff around me. Everything's different. My room's different. The sounds are different. People's expectations are different. The social expectations are different. So there's a huge amount of causality. There's a huge amount of cause and overwhelm bubbling around. And maybe one good thing you can do to prevent all of that becoming eventually triggered into a go over the top, triggered into the loop of the roller coaster, is to give plenty of time and opportunities throughout all of that overwhelm to stop, process, deal with, and don't build on and build on and build on and build on. Because our temptation as autistic individuals is to put that in a box and pop it down over here, and then we put that in a box and we pop it on top, and then we put that one in a box as well and we pop it on top, and oh god, Nanny wants a cuddle, okay, I'll give her a cuddle, and then put that on top, and eventually it all comes tumbling down on us. We've done too much. But if you build into your day and your life lots of opportunities, at school we might say brain breaks, but at home think of things like little decompression moments where they can go to their own room, where you can get your dark space, your quiet space, your time to process. You don't need to follow, you don't need to do anything. This is why a lot of young people will want their iPad and they'll loop the same video over and over again. That is a form of decompression. They are literally just regulating themselves and getting back to a state of understanding and of normality, and okay, the world's okay and in alignment again, and okay, I'm ready for the next thing. The trigger, you may have certain triggers that are always annoying. My biscuit broke when I dunked it in my tea. That always makes me furious. Or I turn the television off and on and it's suddenly too loud because I was previously playing a computer game and now it's a movie. Something broke. I hate it when things break. Or got dropped or was too hot. So something triggers tend to be those big things that on their own won't necessarily spiral you into overwhelm, but on top of everything else are likely to be the thing that does that. So again, talk about it when you're in a state of calm. So talk about what happens if, have a biscuit. In fact, have two, because sometimes the first one breaks. Maybe if we already have a plan for that, yeah? Or have a plan, like a young person's trigger might be, there's somebody already on the swings and I want to go on the swings. So have a plan before you even go up to the swings. We're going to go up to the swings. There might be somebody else on the swings. If there is, we'll go on the roundabout first and then the swings. Or we'll sit and wait. And while we wait, we'll do something fun. So you want to preempt a known trigger. And that can help. That can help it being the thing that tips you over. But probably the biggest thing and the most important and useful thing you can do as somebody supporting somebody through a meltdown, after a meltdown, is to come in as soon as that person is regulating, and give them time and space to regulate. And then the first things you need to say to them are not accusation or reminding them of the consequences or going in and showing them what they did. The first things you need to say to that young person or that individual coming out, it has to be open doors, has to be forgiveness. I'm okay. I'm okay. Are you okay? I still love you. I'm still here for you. That was really hard. That was really difficult, wasn't it? Are you okay? Because they already feel rubbish. They already feel awful. Later, when we're all a bit calmer, we can talk about, whoa, we don't want that to happen again. What can we do differently? But often you'll get the response of, I don't want to talk about it because that's in a box and I put it away and I can't deal with it. But just come from forgiveness and from love and from acceptance. And just understand that nobody wanted to be there. Nobody wanted to do that. And everybody now is hurt and broken. And adrenaline crash is a very real thing. And after that huge spike of adrenaline comes a massive, massive depression crash. So give time. Give time and forgiveness and love and space and time to process. And then let the love come back in.